everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to Vanguard Live and our special interview with a special guest today. If you don't know him by now, his name is Godwin Tom. If you've been in the Nigerian music industry, it's impossible not to know who he is. He has worked with the biggest names, and I mean the biggest names. The biggest names that come to your mind, from MI to Whiskey to Davido to Wande Cole, everybody you can think of. If you are an active stakeholder in the Nigerian music industry, there's no way you haven't crossed paths with my guest today. So thank you, Mr. Godwin Tom, for joining us on this special program.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing great.
I'm okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. So today we'll be discussing with Godwin Tom on his latest project, the Music Business Academy for Africa, which is going to let us know the whole package, what it entails, how its positive message for young African musicians, young African music people, young Africans who are looking to go into the music industry as business executives, as artist representatives, as artists as themselves. So we're here for today to listen to Godwin, give us the lowdown on the project, and I hope you have a nice time today. So Godwin, over to you. What is the Music Business Africa Academy about? I don't have an idea, and I'm sure some of our listeners and audience don't have an idea about it. So explain it to us in ways we can understand.
So, in simple terms, it's currently the most advanced music business program on the continent. So, it started when, 2016, I was trying to hire staff, and everyone I hired, I struggled with because I had to then train them. So, I set up this internship program in 2017. So, I started doing online sessions to see if I could educate more people. And then I started an internship program in 2017. And the reason for that was I would train up to 30 people and pick staff from there, because it was easier for me to know that, okay, I'm devoting 3 months to training people and then selecting the top or the best of them. But then as I did more of that, I realized that it was a thing that was needed for more people. People were willing to pay to learn about the industry. So I started doing the talent management training programs, and that worked out for a while. And then, last year I thought, there's such demand for this, not just in Nigeria, across the continent. So I set up the academy. Last year we had about 140 people from across the continent. This year we have 163. I keep mistaking it because my staff is also a part of it. But the reason for it was, if you go across the continent, all countries across the continent, there are over 1,200 universities, but not one offers music business as a course, which makes no sense because music is what is currently the continent's most valuable export at the moment. So it makes no sense, but it's the reality. So instead of waiting for a school to set it up, we decided we're gonna do it. So I partnered with a professor from NYU and a company in the UK called Music Ally. They train staff in YouTube, they train people from Spotify, all the top labels. So we basically partnered with these two people, collaborated with them to develop the curriculum for the program. But I wanted a situation where we were developing a global standard level curriculum, but that was focused on Africa. If I go to the UK to do my master's in music business, they will teach me how music is done in the UK.
Exactly.
So who's teaching us how music is done in Africa? And that's what we're doing.
Wonderful, wonderful. So basically, you've done this to teach people about the business aspect of music, because over time we've heard of artists coming into music without the financial knowledge, and at the end they get ripped off. They lose their resources based on their lack of knowledge on the business side of music.
Yeah.
So basically, it's not just enough for you to have that talent. You need to have the understanding business side of it.
We do not lack talent in Africa. As a matter of fact, I say this boldly, part of the reason why major labels are coming in is not because of right now. It's because of 2050, 2060, right? And if they can plant their feet properly now, they'll benefit from Africa.
Basically, first mover.
And so if you think about it, population, right? Africa currently boasts of the youngest population in the world. And the youngest population in any environment are the people who create music, who push culture.
Exactly.
So if this trend continues the way it is continuing, Africa would literally
Lead.
lead in the youth audience. And if you're going to lead, you have to be where that youth audience is, because that's where creation is. So a lot of these labels are looking long term, and we need to start thinking like that as well. We need to start
match the
thinking
energy.
we need to start thinking long term and say there's nothing wrong with foreign investment, but there's a lot of problem with the lack of development where foreign investment is going. So that is where we need to step in. So we don't lack talent. What we lack are people who have enough information to question certain things or to embark on certain solutions. I mean, let's take our government, for example, right? I don't think that the government wants the music industry to die, but I think that you cannot be empathetic to an industry if you don't understand it. So we need more people, even within the government, to go and learn about how the industry works and how they can contribute, because this is a multi-billion-dollar business, and it could help raise taxes, it could create jobs, help solve unemployment problems, so many things.
Reduce crime too.
Exactly. So, but
crime.
because people don't know how to approach it, they struggle to understand it, and if you don't understand it, you can't fix it.
That's true. That's true. So you've been doing this since 2 years now.
Yes. The
So
academy.
what are the challenges you face in from setting this up to operating? What are the challenges you've experienced?
Financial. So operational cost. I funded this with my money for the last
Wow.
2 years. So
How much did that set you back?
a lot, a lot. But because of the quality of what I want to do, it set me back a lot. But the challenge is then, I remember when I set a price, my partners were like, oh, this should be fine. And my partner's outside the country. And I was like, it won't be, because people are going to struggle to pay. Minimum wage is 30,000
Yes,
naira.
grand.
So if the fee is 120, it's minimum wage times 4, right? So it may look, $300 might look like nothing to a lot of people outside, but it's a lot of money here. So finding that balance where we were able to then say, how do we keep the quality of what we're doing top notch without at least breaking even.
Losing.
Yeah, you know, how do we
losing
get
investments.
so that the point where we're breaking even? That's the first challenge. The second challenge is getting women to participate.
Why is that a challenge?
So I have gone to different homes. I've spoken to different parents, and one of the challenges that they have is they're afraid of the industry. Right? There is a misconception, and I call it a misconception because most of the thoughts are not true. I remember a parent telling me, "Oh, your industry, people do drugs." I said, "I would take you to different people, different sectors of the economy, from banking to oil and gas to construction, where people do drugs."
Politics.
The issue isn't that people is not the industry. It is music and the entertainment industry, the creative industry is a reflection of society, right? So whatever you see, simply because the camera is in front of our industry, doesn't mean that we're the only ones doing these things. So that's one conversation that I've had with parents. The other one is, the safety of their female children. People are not very comfortable leaving their children in the industry, and we need to show all sides of the industry. We need to show that there are people in the industry who are married, they're faithful to their wives. There are people in the industry who have children, who are responsible. There are people who, this is their livelihood, this is their careers. And I think if more people see that, they will stop paying too much attention to what they see on TV, because it's like an iceberg, right?
Yes,
the tip of the iceberg. You see the tip, but underneath there's a massive industry that's working, and those people have families they go home to. They have livelihoods. They do every regular thing you do as well. So it's showing people that. And I think the third challenge is that I faced is that people want to. I mean, with any situation, people want to see that you can do it before they support you. Which is why I have put my money down. I put my money where my mouth is, to say, I know that there's a need. I mean, 170 or 160 people is a lot of people. So I know that there's a need, and we're bridging that gap.
That's 170, 60 paying.
So we set up a women's fund.
Okay.
And most of them are paid. We did scholarships for a few people as well, but it wasn't a large chunk of the people paid. So we had support from people like AudioMac.
Okay.
We had support from the bank, from Sterling Bank as well. They paid for women. So
Mm.
between Audiomack and Sterling Bank, they paid for 40 women
Wonderful.
to be part of the program. And then we have people like Tega from Maven who also contributed,
Okay.
or Mochivius on Twitter who also
Twitter.
paid for
Wonderful.
3 women as well. So, we had people who were supporting and pushing.
Wonderful, wonderful. So now, you've spoken of the challenges. What steps are you taking to try and work on them, to try and clear those challenges, to make your work, to make carrying out your operations easier? What steps are you
So the
taking?
first step was setting up the women's fund,
Fund.
particularly for the women's challenge, because if people are uncomfortable about being in a space, you need to give them a reason to be in the space. So the women's fund was supposed to encourage more women to participate by saying, look, we'll cover the costs. Come in.
Just be available.
Exactly. And I'm glad I did it. I'm ecstatic because my rationale for this was, regardless of gender, competence is what matters, right? And if you give women the same amount of opportunities as you give men, they're going to do good work. It's not about whether it's a woman, it's about who does the best work. And the women they've showed up. The executive team, how I set up the program is, after educating them in teams, I then set up an executive team. So the program is currently run by the students. And 4 of the 6 executives running the program are women. So and it's based on the competence that they've displayed, that their own colleagues voted them. I didn't choose, right? I didn't nominate, I didn't choose. So those are the type of things I want to be able to show, and we've been able to do that. With regards to getting people involved and finding a price point, I think we're there. I think we're at that sweet spot where it's easy to give a student discount, and it's easy to get funding and support. So the fee will probably remain the same.
Same for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I mean, the next program is July 22.
Okay.
So we're finishing classes this Sunday. Classes end. I'm going to give them a week break. They've been working, but then after that we're going to the final phase, which is the projects. So we have 2 projects. The first one I can't say publicly, but the second one is the second release. They've released an EP, which was a test run. Now that EP, the initial EP had music from the artist from before they joined the program. So
Okay.
all we did was just sort out their mastering and mixing and ensure that it was cleaned up a little more. But the songs you're about to hear next, the next EP, is music that is produced, written, and performed by people within the program. Yeah.
Okay, that's encouraging. That's very encouraging. So far, basically, what does the whole program entail? Say I'm interested, or somebody listening to you right now is interested. What are the steps for the program from the beginning to the end? What am I going to be taught? What things will I come? What new skills will I be impacted with? What will I learn for the first time coming into that program?
So there are 6 modules in
Okay.
the program. The first one is about an introduction to the African music industry. So we talk about the history. This year we had Adebantu, we had Ifeoma Morige, we had Justin Ige, and we had Panji from Ghana, who's a magnificent historian. And so what we tried to do with that was to start the program by introducing the students to the history. This argument that Ghana owns this sound or Nigeria owns this sound. The truth is, sound travels, right?
Exactly.
So we talked about the round trip phenomenon. I mean, a typical example I'll give one is, Flavor Nabanea's show, right? It was a song that everybody knows is from Rex Lawson's 1960, the songs in the 60s. But what people don't know is Rex Lawson's song in the 60s was a sample of a Cuban song,
Oh, wow.
right, called El Manicero, right? So, and how did Cuban sound come to? It was Cuban settlers that came through the coast, that settled in West Africa, and their music began to travel. So as they played music, a lot of those sounds seeped into our culture. Another example, when the Europeans were exploring Africa, the cruise. So the idea of crew, it's not necessarily an English word. So the crew were the people who were navigating. They knew how to navigate the waters. So the people navigating the waters for the Europeans were called? The crew.
Mm.
The crew used to carry these traditionally made guitars or banjos or whatever they were, and they used to play. And the sound they were playing is the sound that settled in modern Ghana, right? So a lot of those sounds you hear were not originally Ghanaian
Ghanaian,
sounds.
not
So,
even African.
so the idea we wanted to show people was we need to come together, right, to find ways that we are properly promoting sounds that are created within our system
Indigenous sounds.
without needing to fight about who owns
Who
it,
owns what?
you know. So we did that, and then we talked about entrepreneurship. We got the director of growth at LIRS speak to the students. We got one of the directors at Sterling Bank to speak about financial literacy. We also got the guys were the head of legal at MTN to talk about the reality of the entertainment industry. We got the head of Google partnerships. So what we do is we get these. There is a class you watch, and then there's a live session. The live session are professionals who are currently doing the work. So that's module 1. Module 2 is on the industries of the music business. So people, if you ask somebody how many industries are in the music business, they'll say, there's music industry. But there are actually 4. So there is the recording industry, there's the publishing industry, there's the live industry, and then there's the interactive industry because of our current digital age. And that we teach that so people understand, because each industry creates jobs in itself. And then we go into copyrights, music and the law, contracts, endorsements, management contracts, label contracts, and then we look at IP valuation as well. How do you value IP? How do you sell it? How
By
do
IP, you mean intellectual property?
Intellectual property, yes. So how do you turn what you create into your bank and your pension? And then by the 4th module, we're talking about A&R and artist development. So the process of discovery, assessment, and development. And then we go into marketing, and then the final module is on touring, which we're on now.
Okay.
So we had Uncle Eddie Lawani at the last session, who's a veteran in the industry, not the loudest human being, but everyone who works in the industry has somewhat been taught. He's one of those guys that can say, no matter how big of an artist you are, if you're not performing, if Eddie says you're not performing, you're not performing.
Wow.
That's how powerful Eddie Lawani is. So he was very gracious. He taught the class. He engaged the students, answered all their questions. Went 40 minutes above his time, answering all the questions carefully and slowly. So that's the level we've put in. It's a business school,
Yes.
right? But we focus on being vocational because we don't want to be stuck with the bureaucracy of a school, because schools can't just change their curriculum, you know what I mean? So we want to be able to catch up as the industry changes. We want to catch up with it as well.
Okay, wonderful. So as an artist now, I sign up to the Music Business Academy. How is it going to benefit my career? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm
But the-
looking to break out in the music industry, and now here's this program telling me this is a full package, not just the talent side. It equips me with everything I need to succeed. So how am I sure this is going to work for me? Why should I be part of the music business?
Well, you just answered the question, right? It equips you because, for instance, I can't manage everybody, right? And even with the students I train, they can't manage everybody. We have a massive deficit of managers compared to artists or business people generally compared to the talents. So there has to, you as an artist, especially as an independent artist, without funding, you need to figure out how your business can be run. So that knowledge that you get exposes you to ideas that you can
Widens
use.
your
Widens
scope.
your scope. So that's the first thing. But we have 2 ways. So it's either you register for the program or you attempt to be selected for the talent project. So the talent project is where the albums are coming out of. So we have this last program, we had about 300 entries. That's over 900 to 1,000 songs were sent in. And we were able to break it down to 5 writers, 5 producers, and then 5 artists.
How was that?
It was tedious, but shout out my head of A&R. She went through the entire thing, catalog, and picked the top artists among them. Shout out Choma. She did a fantastic job. So the goal is, if you think that you're great,
Good enough.
you're a great talent, send in your music. we'll go through it, listen to it, and then we'll put it in for programs. So what happens is you are now managed by 150 people, or represented by 150, 160 people who are catering to your career for three to 4 months.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. In the course of this discussion, you spoke about so many networks, so many partnerships. You spoke about Sterling Bank. You mentioned MTN. How have you been able to gather these partners to work together?
The best way to describe that is you don't go to war, you don't prepare for war during the war, right? So a lot of the things you see are relationships built over the last 10, 13, 15 years. And so a lot of the guys that are in positions of power now were entry-level staff when I started my career, right? So I built relationships with a lot of people. Sometimes I forget myself, because those guys no longer do the day-to-day anymore. So I have to find ways that I'm connecting to the guys doing the day-to-day as well. But this relationship built over years, and trust built with people knowing that, if Godwin puts his hand to do this thing, he's going to give it his best shot. And so they trust that. And so the goodwill plays out. And, and the ripple effects of that goodwill is somebody says, oh, I got an invitation from Godwin Tom. Do you know him? Oh, yes, I know Godwin Tom. Oh, I work with him. Okay, he's a good guy. So it helps. So we've had over 40 faculty members and guests from the US, the UK, parts of Europe, Africa, and the Philippines engage the students. During the program.
So basically, the Music Business Academy for Africa is there to fully equip you, not just as a musician. It gives you the business aspect of things.
Yeah.
It equips you fully to go into the music world, and at least it gives you a very high chance to succeed.
Yeah.
You don't just learn about singing, you learn about the management process, the publicity process.
So 3 very important things I achieved with the program. 3 goals. One is information. Information has to be accurate, has to be up to date. 2 is building networks. So you're coming to the program, as long as you participate, you're building those relationships. You're finding people who know how to do amazing graphic work. You're finding people that can do A&R. There's a lady who I wasn't paying attention to, but she has been plugging the EP on playlists across platforms, and she's just quiet, just doing that. So you build those relationships, and you see those people work. And then the most important part is work experience, because you're not just learning, you're actually releasing music for a real artist. You're promoting it. You're seeing, we can see all the back end. We get all the information. Chartmetric is also our partner in the US, so they give us access to their platform, and we can actually see the growth of the artists because they're tracking it. We can see where they're mentioned online. We can see how their music is doing on music. So we can see those things. Yeah. So that work experience is also gained. So the information, the network, and the work experience are the 3 things that we focus on doing.
Basically, you mentioned your career. You've been in music industry business for how long now?
About 18 years, but as a manager, 13.
You started with MI in 2008.
Yeah.
So give us a lowdown. How has that journey been from 18 years, not just from when you started with MI, from the first start to now?
So I started as an artist. Yeah, it didn't work.
I've never heard that part before.
Yeah, it didn't work. I have a few songs out. I don't promote them.
When did you release this?
The older ones, I used to be part of a gospel group called 7 Seal.
Okay.
Osage used to be my manager.
That's Osage Alonge?
No, Osarenko.
Okay.
As Timaya's manager, she used to be my manager at the time, or my liaison. I don't know what we called it then. It didn't work out really, to be very honest. And I think Night House Studio still has a few of my recordings, a few of my songs, but it didn't work out. So I went back to school. I came out and started working I worked with a few companies, and then met MI in 2008. I've told this story so many times. But I met MI in 2008 and quit my job and came into the industry full time as a manager. So I haven't looked back since then.
Did you quit your job as a leap of faith, or you were sure it was going to work out?
It was a leap of faith. I remember my first conversation with MI. I asked him, "Do you have money to pay me?" He said no. So it was a mistake, and the reason why this story, I've told you so many times. Osage thought MI said he was looking for a manager. What MI actually said to Osage was he was looking for an assistant because he had a manager.
Okay.
But we met at Silverbird. Imagine sitting down for a meeting, and then the person you want to interview for PA work is asking you, so what's your plan for the next 5 years? What are you trying to achieve? You know, I was just questioning him, and because I was PR and marketing manager at a firm, so I wasn't coming there as an assistant.
Okay.
But you know, he didn't say much in the first meeting, and he left. And then after that, he messaged me. I think there was misunderstanding, but let's meet again. So we met the second time. By the third meeting, I quit my job the next day.
So basically, you had an incredible first impression meeting.
I heard the music. I heard the music, and I was blown away. I had not heard anything like that.
Which of the songs?
So the music Osage sent to me was the songs she sent were Crowd Mentality and Chant Down Babylon. The song called Chant Down
I
Babylon.
remember Crowd Mentality.
I was blown away. And then seeing MI work after I quit my job, it was hard at times, but there was just faith. You just knew something was going to happen. MI blew up in 1 year.
1 year, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously, there's been a lot of work leading to that, but from his album, his debut album, it took a year for him to become the
Safe to
best
say,
rapper in
some
the
people
continent.
most people knew him when the album came out. So it's maybe
Yeah.
he released that project, he
Yeah.
went on fire.
Yeah.
So from MI, how's it downhill?
I worked with the Chalk Boys, so Ice Prince and Jesse, and then after I left the Chalk Boys, I worked with Iris. You want to move fair?
Iris, yeah.
We did some work, and then I met Shudem Camp in 2010. I've worked with them since.
Still work with them
Yeah,
since?
yeah. 11 years now as their manager, and then Rooftop MCs.
Yeah,
And then it's a long list, man. I know Waja and I started working in 2012. Whiskey and I started working in 2012, and then everybody just kind of happened
Came
after
along.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, one of the first, before Whiskey had that big break, you were
It was
building-
Osage. So Osage was his manager. I remember when he called me to manage him. As soon as I got off the phone, the first person I called was Osage because I didn't know they were no longer working. So I was like, hey,
And you got a call from Whiskey
from
directly?
Whiskey, yeah. So he was like, I want you to work with me. I'm like, okay, I'll call you back. So I called
Wow.
Osage and I was like, you know, I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on, but so she told me, oh, we've not been working for a while. And I said, okay. She was like, please take the job. Like, I'd rather, you know, I don't know what happened between them, but she still cared for him. So she felt like she would rather have someone she knows and trusts working with him than a random person. So I called him back. We had a meeting and took it from there.
So how was it working with Whiskey?
It's tedious. It's astonishing how much work he puts into the music. I mean, people say things about Whiskey. They say the women thing. They say all these different issues. But Wiz literally sleeps in the studio. He's working every day. He's recording every day. There was a time when Wiz had a folder. I'm sure he still does. A folder where if he feels like people are not talking about him enough, he can just release. Really, he had so much music. He worked so hard. And another artist that does that is David as well. So it's no surprise how successful they are because of the amount of work they put in.
So you've seen this buzz around Whiskey, Essence, and the rest. You're
Whiskey
not
knew.
shocked.
Whiskey knew. Whiskey
This
knew.
is no
Whiskey knew.
So this was expected.
Expected.
So
Whiskey knew.
it's not impossible. I won't be wrong to say he's expecting more, something bigger than this.
So the thing about Wiz is, and one thing I respect about him was Wiz never made a decision on the spot. So he's very deliberate. He's very careful. I mean, there was times where he was reckless, but he was young. You know what I mean? We've all gone
Yeah.
through that process. But he's gone to this. There's a level of maturity now that I see. Every artist has their problem, so there's no point talking about it. Creative people are creative people, and they'll behave emotional. But Wiz knew. That's the only thing I can say. That's the best description I can give you for how he took his career. And I think because of that knowledge, he worked 10 times harder
Super
than
hard.
anybody around him to get it.
Wonderful. So you mentioned Davido too. What
David,
did
I didn't manage David. I worked with Asa when I was the one that helped release Back When.
So you've been there from the start.
Yeah, I helped release Back When, and then I was working with the label called Black Diamond Promotions. We signed David, but that relationship didn't work out. But we released Damiduro, So I was there.
when it started.
Yeah.
And now you're not surprised too by what he's
No.
achieved. No.
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 David started his career as a producer. That's what a lot of people don't
No,
understand.
I don't know.
So David started as a producer. He was supposed to be producing for other people and giving people an opportunity to blow, right? But I think along the line he just realized he could do this
do
thing
this
himself.
myself.
Yeah, so he did it.
So, from who are you currently managing in the entertainment industry? Are you restricted to arts, music artists, or
So
it's
currently, I'm only working with my friends.
Your friends?
Because I'm unable to give people the kind of time. So I'm only working with people who have worked with me for a very long time. We built a relationship, and I consider them family because they're a little more understanding of me chasing my dreams. It's hard to work with artists if they're only thinking about themselves. And with what I'm trying to build now, I need that breathing space where I can go do what I need to do. So I currently manage Beverly Naya and Shodem Camp. That's it. Shodem Camp, I've become my brothers. 2010 to now is a long time. And so we work, the way we work is not the way conventional managers and artists work. We all sit in meetings, we all talk about stuff together, we disagree, we agree. I'm like a member of the team, not a manager per se. For Beverly Naya, we've built a business around her. So Beverly has multiple businesses that support her career. So she doesn't, I would say she doesn't need to act. I would say that for her now, it's one of the many things that she does. So I'm there to support that, but I'm also helping her ensure that her businesses are growing so she doesn't struggle.
But don't you think it's a bit, I don't know the word to use. Imagine somebody's watching this interview, is listening to you and I'm like, I want that guy to manage me. He has experience, he has the knowledge, he's worked with successful people. I want that guy to be my manager. How does the person go about that?
Yeah, there is. So if you are saying that right now, join the queue. Because the reality is I can't work with everybody.
Yeah.
And I realized that early and I felt like the best way to, the true test of power and influence is in its distribution, right? So, I'll give you an example. The people who run the company called Double Sys, they handle Tenny, they handle Ajabota, they handle Major Banks, they handle a bunch of, like a good roster of artists. They're doing really well. All three owners of that company are my students, right? So that's what I want to build.
So you mean people managing superstars in Nigeria?
Yeah,
Students.
are my students. That's what I want to build. So the goal is let's build the business to the point where I'm not the only option, or 10 of us are not the only option. You can see a plethora of people who have the ability to actually take your career from point A to point B. And I think that's more important than me trying. It's nice that I can walk into a place and they're like, oh, na you, after you, na you. It's nice, but it's then sad immediately because it shouldn't be only me.
So I'm guessing that's partly motivated the founding of the Music Business Africa.
Yeah, a lot of it, yeah.
A lot of it. Wonderful. So it's not just going to be, you want to impact your knowledge in other people too, so they can carry on your, not necessarily your vision, at least the proper way.
They get enough information, they develop their own vision. And run with it. Yeah.
Just to give them a good solid foundation.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So you've been in the music industry for close to 20 years now, both as an active participant and let me use the word on the sidelines, as a manager on the sidelines. What has been your biggest challenge?
Information.
Yeah, please expand on that.
People don't know what they're supposed to do. People don't know what their jobs are. People don't know what they're required to. People don't know where money is. People don't have information. And so by spreading information, we get more opportunities in the industry. And I think when more people know, from government to businesses, a lot of brand managers need to be trained. Like the whole system, a revamp, and the more information put in, I think a lot of problems will be solved. Every industry in the world has problems, even the American one. But we can solve so many problems here by developing our own processes and running it and adapting to it.
Tailoring our own solutions to our problems, basically. I say creating solutions,
Yes.
tailor-made solutions to
For
our
us,
own issues.
yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. So what is your highest point?
My highest point.
Yeah. Let's get to that for the long.
I think the highest point personally for me, my highest achievement is getting to the point where an artist is taken seriously because I'm their manager. I no longer need to be Godwin Tom, Whiskey's manager. I'm Godwin Tom, MI's manager. I'm Godwin Tom. Period.
Godwin Tom,
Right?
everybody knows who Godwin
Yeah,
Tom
and
is.
I think that was the turning point for my career.
Wonderful. So, no one there's a high point, there's an opposite low part. So, what's your
My lowest point was learning how cruel the industry is. When I stopped managing MI, people stopped taking my calls, and I didn't really pay attention to it. And then I started working with Wiz, and people
came back
came back and taking my calls out. Everybody was friendly again. And then when Wiz and I stopped working,
back to square?
so that was when my eyes opened. I think it was a burden and a curse. It was a curse and a blessing, because my life changed after Wiz and I stopped working. I realized that I needed to build my own reputation and my own brand and do my own work to build it. So by the time I was working with One Day, I could call and somebody would say, if Godwin is the one managing One Day, there'll be no problem. And that was where I wanted to get to.
So basically, the Music Business Academy for Africa, where do you see it? What's the future for it?
Our goal is quite big. So we want to run the program in multiple languages across the continent, just to ensure that we don't leave anyone out of the program. So we've developed the content. Now we need to transcribe and take it across the continent. That's our next step. And the goal eventually, I don't want to build a school. We have enough schools, so I want to help schools develop programs that can help their students do better.
So where else can people go to read more about the Music Academy? On the website?
So there's musicbusinessafrica.org. That's the website, or you visit the social media handles at MB Academy Africa, MB Academy Africa, on Twitter or Instagram. Yeah,
Facebook?
It's on Facebook, Music Business Africa as well.
So Godwin, thank you very much.
Thank you for having
very educating. Before this program, I had no idea. I had a slight idea, I had an understanding, but now I think I have the full lowdown. You've done a great justice, and it's a very, very impressive program you set up, because we know how things are done here. Things properly are not run properly, they're not managed properly, and we know the music industry is like a cutthroat world, where if you're not sharp, you lose out. You lose out. And we've seen artists, promising artists with talents, unfortunately they've not been able to live up to that talent. And basically what the Music Business Africa will do is equip you properly so you can live up to that talent. If you're not an artist, equipping other aspects of music where you can help people achieve their dreams. That's the basic. So Godwin, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really grateful to have you. It was a pleasure here. And I hope our listeners, you picked up a couple of things. If you have interest in the music industry, I mean, you have to listen to Godwin Tom. Whatever he says is almost golden. So, no be lying, the line, bros.
I'm nothing but the pencil.
Whiskey Davido, MI. I'm hearing Starboy name, so it's incredible to have you with us today. I'm very grateful, and thank you for your time. And I wish you all the best with the Music Business Africa Academy for Africa.
Thank you.
Success as always, and more grace for you.
Thank you very much.